Glasgow Uni Palestine protesters must be dealt with? Give me a minute. Let me just... What? So the Herald put out this article about a month ago. As someone who has spent the past 3 years studying history at the University of Glasgow. Wait, this is a student? So apparently the writer of the article is the co-founder and editor-in-chief of the Hillhead Review. That's the second student newspaper. We can see on their about page they say, "We are committed to remaining on the side of the students and driven by a passion to report accurately and impartially." Yeah, calling for the students to be dealt with is definitely on the side of the students, and very impartial. We aren't going to follow this article linearly all the way through, but I have left a link in the description. I believe that in almost every instance, it has been peaceful campaigning that has fostered real societal change, rather than any violent counterparts. It's funny you should say that, because right at the top of the article, you mentioned the suffragists. My understanding was that both the suffragists and the suffragettes played an important part in getting the vote for women. And obviously the suffragettes used direct action tactics which are much more extreme than anything we've seen from Glasgow Uni Palestine protesters. The suffragettes even planted bombs, way more radical than anything done by, for example, Palestine Action, which has been prescribed. Catherine mentions the prescription in the article, maybe a week before it came into effect. The prescription of Palestine Action can only be a good thing, not only for nationwide security, but for the safety of university students. She describes her ideal type of protesters, who would use banners and leaflets and organize marches in order to gain the university's attention. And those kind of actions are still being organised by the Justice for Palestine Society, or JPS, who is the target of this article. It is no mystery why the scale and severity of these protests has increased. So she says it's understandable. It's understandable that students aren't very happy with the uni's arms investments, and that they're trying to do something about it. However, it is frankly unforgivable that these protests have been met with undeniable apathy from both the university and Police Scotland. What? What apathy? Was that the apathy where Police Scotland showed up to arrest the student who'd spray painted the JMS? Maybe it was the apathy when Police Scotland blocked the occupying protesters into the Charles Wilson Lecture Theatre, when they ate the food people were trying to give to the protesters, when they essentially cleared out the occupation. Apathetic. One protest, which to me demonstrates the danger of indifference from the authorities, was outside an event where Michael Gove and Hamza Yusuf were discussing life after politics. She literally goes on to completely misrepresent a protest I literally attended. You know what? Let's go. Let me show you what happened. The protest was set to take place outside the Charles Wilson Lecture Theatre. I was standing right here. After a while, the pavement in front of me became completely filled up. Now, there isn't much space here, so people had to walk on the road around the barriers to get past us. And it is possible that one of them could have been seriously injured by a passing car. The uni security and the cops were definitely quite active. Someone had set up a protest area on the other side of the road, an activist hive queue, if you will. The uni security we ignored, but the cops told us, it wasn't safe for everybody to be on this side of the road. They actually closed the road at one point and told everyone to go across to the other side. Eventually, we filled up the protest area and this side of the road as well. The cops were actually escorting people one by one through the crowd of protesters to get into the lecture hall door. So this claim they made no effort is simply untrue. People were bullying anybody entering, but that's not really something I agreed with, and I could tell that people maybe did it once, and they thought, wait, why are we doing this? After about half an hour, most people moved around the side of the building. By this point, attendees included students, older adults, and even some of their kids, not just Catherine's youths. So much for neutrality. She says students and staff have been intimidated by masked youths over dissenting opinions. The question is, who's really intimidating who?
You must provide the details. You must provide these details. They're perfectly safe.
I don't feel safe right
Perfectly safe. There are a lot of people around about you. All
Take the copy, you're alright.
I I don't feel safe, please.
Why no?
Who's being intimidated there? Is it the masked thug who's intimidating the uni staff member who even is this guy? I think he's a member of the facilities team.
Hello. We're outside the building.
It's a peaceful occupation. It's a peaceful Hey, don't touch her.
Out the building!
Do not touch her.
Out the building!
Is that apathy? Catherine makes a slippery slope argument here, although I'm in no way comparing the actions of JPS to terrorism. Actually, the more these activists are allowed to get away with, the scope for destruction increases. I don't think we'd see any meaningful destruction, really, from JPS activists. I hope the proposed proscription of Palestine action will encourage the University of Glasgow and Police Scotland to take the escalation of illegal protests seriously. You know, it just might embolden them. Already, police down south have claimed that any support of Palestine is banned.
My colleagues explained that the support of this, mentioning freedom of Gaza, Israel genocide, all of that, will come under prescribed groups, which are terror groups that have been dictated by the government, alright?
The prescription will only encourage police overreach. You guys can decide what the worst crime is. Spray painting a building, blocking the outside of a lecture theatre, or committing genocide in Gaza. I used to be part of youth climate activism. I'm passionate about climate change. We'd make our banners and go on a massive march, get thousands of people to show up even, but it didn't seem to change the government's opinion or actually influence any policy. That's why you have more radical groups such as Youth Demand or Just Stop Oil. In much the same way as the suffragettes were disappointed that nothing was really happening, these guys take matters into their own hands and undertake direct action. Public opinion of groups like Just Stop Oil was pretty negative, because although their actions were targeted at the government, they inconvenienced regular people as collateral. In a case of friendly fire, if you will, people who might care about the environment and might even support the same things they were calling for, might have ended up feeling alienated by the movement, because they felt they were being targeted by it. And in effect, that's the same thing that's happened here with this article. Like, why are we the students fighting amongst ourselves? Really, we should be standing together to demand change from the university. But does that require a rethink of what kind of actions we do? Overall, the cause for divestment is supported by the vast majority of students on campus.
I don't believe his campaign should make claims like the one they did.
As proved by the SRC's divestment referendum. I don't think JPS is going anywhere, and neither is the Divestment Coalition. Over 60 clubs and societies supported the Yes campaign in the divestment referendum, and in the upcoming year, they're gonna act as a coalition to demand university action on divestment. And if you want to stay in the loop, you should follow the Divestment Coalition Instagram, I've linked it below. They're gonna be your suffragists, Catherine. I don't imagine the coalition will plan any direct action themselves. I'm Rabi, and I'll see you in September.